Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Christmas special of the Wendy Linda Show and the Business Connections. So, for today's guest, I am so honored and privileged to have him in the show because we're going to be talking about the world of entertainment and the fashion world. And he's not only a coach, he's also a producer and a luxury brand specialist. So, without further ado, let me introduce Errol Isip.
Hi, Wendy. How are you?
I'm doing great, Errol. I'm so excited.
Well, thank you for inviting me to your show.
Of course, I heard great things about you, and one of my friend that introduced you to
Uh
me,
huh.
she always tells me that I should be really inviting you to
Uh
the
huh.
show because you have a lot of great stories to tell the viewers
Yes,
today.
yes. Is it Gina, the makeup artist? I
Yes,
love Gina. I've worked with her so many events and photo shoots. She's amazing. She's an amazing makeup artist.
I know she is. So now let's talk about your story.
Uh huh.
Kasi I was checking you on different social media
Were you
platforms.
stalking me?
Yes, for a while, because I want to know my guests.
Of course.
And I'm so proud of you. As young as you are, you accomplished so many. I thought
Thank
you were
you.
only in your 20s.
Ah.
You look so young in person. So tell me more about how did you started in the fashion
Yeah,
world?
yeah. Well, actually, I'm not 20 years old, but I've been in the industry for more than 20 years. So I started when I was 17 back in the Philippines. When I was still in college, I did a commercial. I was just one of those commercial models where it was basically an extra. Honestly, it was just an extra, and it was for a detergent soap, and they had a fashion show. And so the choreographer of that fashion show, that scene, was Robbie Carmona. So Robbie Carmona is, for those who don't know, he's the number one fashion director in the Philippines until now. And so I was in the bathroom washing my hands, and then he was there, and then he asked me and my friend, he was like, you guys, I was 17, you guys want to work for me as production assistant, like extra money during summer and all that. So I'm like, okay, perfect. And so that's how it started. I worked for him as a production assistant until I finished college. And I actually initially wanted to become a doctor. So I was studying a pre-med course, medical technology in University of Santo Tomas. And so after that, I did my 1 year internship in Makati Med, and while I was there in the laboratory, I was like, oh my God, I just realized this is not for me. This is not for me. I was missing all the events I was doing because I was just doing fashion shows on weekends and during summer. And so after that, I decided to open up my own company, the Velvet Rope, which is an events and modeling agency as well. So I had models for commercials, for print and fashion shows. I was producing events as well, mostly fashion shows and some corporate events. I was one of the first modeling agency in the Philippines to bring in international models. So as
Wow.
you know, a lot of those Brazilians and Americans and Europeans are now in the Philippines, right? So I'm like there were only three of us at the time. So I had models from Brazil, models from US and Europe. So I had all of that. And then a friend of mine asked me to go to Dubai. So after 5 years of having an agency and events company, at the time, all my models flew out of the Philippines. So it was a perfect time for me to have a break because, I mean, I didn't have a break at all. College and then summer, I opened up my agency. And then, like, I was in my 20s, early 20s. So no break at all. I said, okay, I'm gonna try something. I'm gonna, go to Dubai with you and see. So I didn't know anything about Dubai. This was 2006. Nobody knew about
Mm.
Dubai. People think it was Saudi Arabia,
Yes, yes.
right? Even for me, I'm like, where is that? I don't even know where that is. And it's just is it just sand and nothing?
And
But
camel.
and camels. Seriously, it was nothing there. But at 2006, it was really nothing. There's just a few
Mm.
buildings there.
Mm.
And so I went there with him. After a week, I was offered a job for a production company in events, and so I stayed there. And then I worked for a few companies. I wasn't sure. I was doing corporate events at the same time, exhibit conferences and all that. And then after 5 years, I joined Altair Group. So Altair Group is the biggest retail
Mm-hmm.
company in Dubai. So they own not just fashion, they also own engineering, automobile. So
Mm-hmm.
they have Porsche and Ford and all that. So I started with them. I was handling the department store. I was an event coordinator. So I was handling Bloomingdale's and
Mm-hmm.
Harvey Nichols. And then from there, I became assistant event manager, and then I
Mm-hmm.
became event manager for the luxury brands. So that's where really my peak of my career in Dubai. From there, I was able to um, coordinate directly with the brands. So
Mm-hmm.
every time there's a big designer who would come to Dubai with all our brands, I would be the first contact.
Wow.
So yeah, I would plan, and it would take like 2 years, at least 2 years, to plan something as big as that, right? So for example, Stella McCartney.
Mm-hmm.
So when we brought in Stella McCartney in Dubai, I had to fly to New York to meet them, to meet her and her team, and come up with a plan and all that, and then bring it to Dubai. So that's Stella McCartney. I
And
did with
Dolce and
Dolce
Gabbana.
Gabbana, for example. Oh my God, that's like
Oh
the highlight of
wow.
my
That was
career
like
in
the biggest
Dubai. Yeah, yeah,
break.
that was because it was like 3 events in two
Wow.
days. 3 events. So we
Amazing.
had an in-store event where they signed autographs. We had Anna De La Russo, who's the editor in
Uh-huh.
chief of Vogue Japan. We had a VVIP dinner. And then we had the party at the end, culminating that event. So it was crazy. It was crazy. I mean, I was with them the whole time because I was their main contact in Dubai. So I was
Mm-hmm.
there in their car where we went, went
Yeah.
around and with their team and everything. I mean, wow, that was really great.
So
Um,
it's a great
oh
experience.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, just by telling me those stuff, like I wish I was with you and knowing you that, because I
Yeah,
love when you talk
yeah,
about fashion.
yeah, yeah,
I know like the brands,
yeah.
but I don't buy much because it's so expensive, and I'm not in the position to even buy those brand. But
Uh-huh.
I love fashion.
Yeah,
But let's go back again,
yeah,
because when you said at the young age you were already exposed to
yeah,
that world,
yeah.
but then I all I hear is great things. But on that building part, is there any challenges building that
Well,
the last 5 years? Because I know there's a lot of viewers that also wanted to be in your
yeah.
position, but maybe you can also give a different insight
Yeah.
how to build an agency like what you built in the
Of course, of
Philippines.
course. So yeah, just going back, it really started when I was in high school. I was looking at Vogue magazine. That's how it really how it started. How I got interested with fashion, and then we would watch fashion TV. And I would see all these supermodels, especially in the 90s. You have, Cindy
Oh,
Crawford,
yes,
Naomi
still
Campbell, and all that. So I was like, oh my God, when I was young, I was like, wow, there's like all these designers. So that really interested, but I didn't know. I still wanted to be a doctor. In the Philippines, you had to be a
yes,
doctor, nurse,
engineer.
engineer, architect, or whatever.
Yes.
Especially my dad was like, no, you're gonna be a doctor.
Yeah.
So I didn't, think about it. That was in high school. Maybe that was just a phase. But when I met Robbie, he really opened up, the fashion industry for me. And as I told you, I started as production assistant. You have to start from
From the
somewhere,
bottom.
right? From the
Yes.
bottom. That's
Yes.
like my first week I remember was just to check the attendance of the models. That was it. And all the models were like, "Who are you? I don't know you." Like some models are diva,
Yes.
and and they don't know me. So oh my
Mm.
God! So I'm like, I wanted to cry. I'm like, okay, what
Uh-huh.
am I doing here?
So you
Is this the
have
right
those
thing? Oh yeah,
experience
oh yeah, oh
too.
yeah.
Mm.
And then obviously as production assistant, you have to carry the food.
Mm. Their
You have to do all
clothes,
those small,
yes.
those
Mm.
hard things.
Like a yaya.
Yeah, like yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. And you can't say no, and you have to be
Yes.
there the whole night and all
Uh-huh.
that. But still, again, because I guess maybe it's my passion, so I'm like,
Yes.
okay, I'm gonna do this.
Persistent.
Whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was very persistent. There are a lot of ups and downs during the time,
Mm-hmm.
especially when I had my own company.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a trial and error, honestly. The good thing is that I had connections already. I know some people, and I have good friends. So a lot of
Mm-hmm.
my friends helped me. I started with a small office and close to my house. My dad just, okay, we're gonna rent an apartment just for you to make an office. I had a fax machine. I didn't even have a computer at the time. This was 2001. I had a fax machine. That was my first. I remember faxing my company profile to companies, and oh my god,
Companies over
fax. Yeah,
companies.
and I was waiting and calling them.
Uh-huh.
So I had a break after a few weeks where I casted some models for an event. So that's how it started, and eventually, I had to build my network. Joined some organization. I joined the talent agent organization in the Philippines back then. I think it's different now. I had to meet people. I know Jonas, for example, through Tao, and some other agencies there. It was very hard. I only had a small team. Also with having a modeling agency, because it's hard because they don't pay you immediately, so you have to wait. So I had to invest my money there. Basically, during that time, because I own my own company, I couldn't do other things. And I was in my 20s. So
Yes, I was about to ask you that.
So
If you ever enjoyed life,
oh
because you
no,
said
I
after that
couldn't.
5 years, what
No, I
day in,
couldn't.
day out, all work.
Yeah. I was
Okay.
working every day. There's no day,
Yeah.
weekdays
Yes.
on for if you're an entrepreneur, and at the end of the month, I would, all my friends are going out. They got their salary. I'm the opposite because I have to give the money to
Yes.
my employees,
yes,
right?
first,
So
yeah.
instead of spending those money, I have to give it so yeah,
Yes.
I wasn't spending much. I was really concentrated on work. So, and I was in my 20s, and I didn't really study anything about business and all the accountancy, nothing like that. So it was really a trial and error. Very hard, but as I said, I got advice from different people. So those are the ones who helped me, and that's why I actually got tired of, after 5 years. And I'm like, okay, I need a break, and that's where I went to Dubai.
To Dubai,
Yeah.
and that's where actually the bigger
Yeah, and
things
that's where I really
happened.
started. Okay, I've never applied for a company. I've never made my resume.
Yes.
That's where I
You're just
really.
like,
Oh
okay,
yeah.
we're
Oh yeah.
hiring you
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
away. But how's the experience being there in Dubai, getting to know big names
Yeah.
like Stella McCartney, Dolce Gabbana, and
Yeah.
more?
Yeah.
When I was reading your your website, I was like, oh my god, I really need to
Yeah.
talk to him
Yeah.
and learn,
Yeah.
because like what you said, you're already harvesting. What they see is already what you did for over the
Yeah.
years. It's not, I mean, it's not
Yeah,
easy.
yeah, not easy at all. And I said, I again, even in Dubai, I started, as an event coordinator. So again, I was, even after all, 5 years having my own company and doing, big projects in the Philippines. When I came to Dubai again, I came back. I swallowed
Build
my
again.
pride,
Yeah,
build again,
yes,
build
yes.
again. I was applying, to different companies, and I know that I was more experienced than my managers, honestly. But they're, from UK and all
Yeah.
that. So what else can I do? I have to swallow my pride, just
Just
be
do what you need to
patient, do what I
do.
need to
Yes.
do. So,
Wow.
and good thing is that my managers, the general manager, she knew that I was good at my work, and she, I got promoted fast. But yeah, it was still a long road, even in Dubai. It wasn't as easy
Wow.
as all what you see on the photos and all that.
Well, that's a great nuggets for those who wanted to start an agency, or who wanted to be in the,
Yeah,
fashion world.
yeah,
So, mga ka-TBC and TWLS. So, he's very hardworking. What you see is not I mean, it's a work
yes,
experience of the mastery, like 10,000 or over
yeah,
hours.
yes.
So if I'm gonna ask you, did you regret anything? Did you ever think that, oh, I should have just enjoy my life when I was 20s?
Honestly, the only time I kind of thought about it was last year.
Last
Be-
year.
because during COVID, with the lockdown and all that, the first industry that got affected was events. And the
Yes.
and also the last industry to come back. It's just starting now, right?
Yes.
So at the time, and obviously, everyone is so frustrated, and no. So at that time, I'm thinking maybe I should have been a doctor. Maybe I should just, maybe my dad was correct for me to become, because it's something stable. So maybe events is nothing and all that. But now, no, I realize, no, this is really for me. It's just a phase.
Yes.
I was able to pivot at the time. I had to
Yes.
think of something, doing a virtual event. I did a virtual model competition last year,
Uh-huh.
which was like, I mean, until now, I can't imagine I was able to do something like that, and there were no vaccinations yet at the
Uh-huh.
time last year. So I'm like, oh my god, so we did something very, very nice. We did a virtual model competition, and no one got any COVID, no one got sick and all that, so
Uh-huh.
thank god. But yeah.
So you have that moment during COVID,
Yeah.
like self-reflection
Yeah,
eh, 'di ba?
exactly.
Parang you're thinking what's more important, 'di
Exactly.
ba?
Exactly.
Which is now you realize that this is really your purpose or your
Yeah.
calling. So let's talk about now
Yeah.
your current career.
Yeah.
Kasi I saw that you're doing LA Fashion
Yeah.
Week and you're doing you also have your own agency. Talk about
Yeah.
the viewers about that agency. What do you offer?
It's actually not a modeling agency. It's a model competition.
It's a model
Yeah, it's
competition.
called Model Hunt, which is the most
Mm-hmm.
diverse model search in the world. So I'll tell you how it started. So when I moved here in LA in 2017, I started with the LA Fashion Week. I was the casting director, or I'm still like the casting director and overall choreographer of LA Fashion Week. And so when I first did the casting for them, I saw all the models. They're all the same. They were really all the same models.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, they need diversity. You
Mm-hmm.
need inclusivity. You need
Yes.
diversity.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when the other designers were asking me, "Do you have a plus size model? Do you have petite model?" Like
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't find anyone from the pool of
Yes.
talents that came to
Uh-huh.
my casting. And so that's where it really started. I'm like, okay, well, I needed to find a diverse type of models. And so in 2019, I launched Model Hunt in downtown in LA, where we had a finals for 2 days, and we had 10 categories. We had kids, teens, petite, mature, plus size, person with disability, trans,
Wow.
obviously
Uh-huh.
mainstream, edgy model,
Mm-hmm.
fitness model. So there were 10. We had like over 200 um, contestants for 2 days. We had
Wow.
almost 1,000 applicants on our first year.
Mm-hmm.
And so I trained them. Because that's another problem during the casting here in LA. There were not a lot of good models,
Mm-hmm.
so they really need proper training.
Mm-hmm.
So I trained them. We did photo shoots. A lot of experience overall within the modeling industry. And then I introduced them to some modeling agencies. Some of them got signed, and some of them did some projects and all that. So that was a very successful event, 2019. And then
Mm-hmm.
we were gearing up to become a bigger event. We had around 1,500
Wow.
applicants the
Mm-hmm.
second year, because people already
Yes.
got to
Saw
know
it.
about it.
Yes.
In the
Yes.
first year, people were like, is that a scam or like
Yes. Yes.
that?
It's
What
always
is
like that.
it?
Yeah.
Like nobody knows about me. And so the second year was, this was January 2020. It was becoming big and all that, and
And
we
then.
were we already have applicants, and we
Mm-hmm.
already have the schedule for the training. Training was in March. I
Mm-hmm.
remember March 11. That was when the lockdown
Yes.
started. March
Oh.
11. We had some contestants who flew in from Arizona and New York, who were already here in LA, and they were like, "What I'm gonna do?" I was like, "I can't do anything. They lock,
Yes. Yes.
no,
That's true. It's a
everything's locked down.
regulation.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
regulation." So it took me a while to think about something, and then after maybe 2 months, I said, "Okay, I think we can do a virtual model competition." So that was the first virtual competition, even before people were doing virtual fashion shows.
Mm-hmm.
So we did that. We had to divide it into, we had to spread it out into 3 months, so that we can contain if anyone gets COVID or whatever. Then we have some time to, there's a gap in between.
Mm-hmm.
So we did it in one from July, and then August, September, and then October. And then it was a combination of in person training, coaching, photo shoot, and then we did the virtual judging. Yeah, and
Wow.
the hosts were all virtual.
Now I
So
have a
yeah.
question. If I'm gonna apply as a model, where am
Yes.
I gonna be classified on those
Yes. Yes.
10 different?
So this is my biggest advice to aspiring models, or anyone who wants to be a model. First of all, you need to know the type of model you are.
Okay.
You can't just go into a casting for a fashion show, for example,
Yes.
if they're not looking for, petite models, or,
Yes.
or whatever, plus size or curvy or whatever. If the requirements is just, it says they're 5'10" for models, don't go, because you're just gonna waste your time. So you need to know your strengths
Yes.
first, right? So there are different types of models. The three main categories of modeling are runway, print, and commercial. So runway models before, where you only have one standard, right? You need to be
Yeah.
tall and all that. But
Yes, yes.
now it's also diverse. So for example, if you go into a runway casting and the designer is more RTW and dresses, they wouldn't have a height requirement. So you can go to that casting, for
Oh.
example. But for example, if it's like a couture and,
Of
high
course, they have
fashion,
a, yeah.
yeah, they would need tall models, not just because they don't want to have diverse models, but because the clothes are too long.
Yes.
And most of the time, they have one size fits all for all the models. They're not gonna make a dress just for you. So when they travel
Also,
around
it's
the
one
city,
size fits
oh
all
yeah,
for
yeah, we call it model size. We call it
Wow.
model size.
I
So it's
see.
mostly size 0 to 2.
Size 0.
Unless they made a gown for plus size or gown
Yeah.
for petite, then they would have. But most of the time, designers are like that. They can't create different clothes. So what they do is they travel in different cities, different shows with the same clothes.
Yeah, because what I see right now on the fashion trend is they kind of like change
Yeah.
their standards.
Yeah.
Like Rihanna Fenty.
Yeah, Rihanna
She's
Fenty.
showing all the
Yeah.
plus
Yes,
sizes, and
yes.
she became, I think, a billionaire
Yeah,
too,
yeah,
doing that,
yeah.
which is good because actually the normal people
Yeah.
doesn't have size
Yeah,
zero
exactly.
size,
Right.
right?
That's what happened with Victoria's Secret.
Yeah.
Because Victoria's Secret just wanted to stay in that same,
Yes,
size
yes.
0 to 2 models, statuesque models, but it's
Yes.
not everyone. Real people who's gonna wear and buy your products
Yeah, are
don't
like the
have the
normal.
same,
Yes,
same
that's
sizes.
true.
And so yeah, it's just a matter of knowing what type of model you are, and then going to those specific casting. For example, there are a lot. If you're shorter and you're more, you like to act. For example, you like the camera, then you should do more commercial. Yeah, yeah.
What about the prints?
Print is the same thing. More if you're more photogenic. So print, if you're doing magazine editorials, mostly again kind of half fashion, half editorial. But if you're doing commercial print and all that, then you don't need to be tall. So you can be in between. You can. It doesn't mean that if you're just runway you can't do print and commercial. Or if you're commercial you can't do you can't do that. So most of the time it really depends on the project that you're doing.
Nice. So probably my TBC viewers, and I am excited. Maybe you can tell them where they can find you on social media.
So it's on my Facebook is Errol Isip Events, and on Instagram it's Errol Isip _events _LLC. And you can also visit my website, errolisipevents.com. Or sorry, wait. You can also visit my website, errolisip.com. I don't even know my website.
No, it's okay. It's already there. So, TBC viewers, if you are looking for someone to coach you, you don't need to be size 0, or you can be size like 8 or 10, like me. Well, if you are interested, just message Errol here.
Yes.
And he's a proud Filipino. I'm
Yes.
proud of you, Errol.
Thank you.
I mean, getting into the mainstream, getting to Dubai, work with, big names, brand names. And what do you mean by luxury brand specialist?
So yeah, so as I've said, I 6 years of my career in Dubai, I was really more in the luxury brands. So luxury brands, they have very specific protocols and standards and brand guidelines. You really have to study all of that. And so in terms of marketing, branding, models, they have specific things that so you actually have courses with LVMH, for example, about luxury management.
yeah,
So
LVMH, yes.
those are that's my training in Dubai, because I was the event manager for 20 luxury brands, and so they have very specific needs. And so they would give me brand guidelines. I had to study them and how to incorporate them into an event.
So someone can hire you. Like I can hire you if I'm planning to have my own
Yes,
line.
yes, yes,
Wow, amazing.
yes.
So now
We
let's
can
talk
talk.
about, because this is, oh yeah, we can talk. I want to collaborate, and I wish next year I can be, I mean, not a model, just be at one of your show.
Yeah.
And then Errol, being a Filipino, and this is my Christmas special
Uh huh.
edition. What do you miss, in the Philippines when you were growing up,
Yeah.
especially pag Christmas
Yeah.
na?
Bibingka.
Bibingka.
I'm still trying to find a good bibingka
Hey, there's
here.
one in Manila Sunset here. Yeah. You
Is it
should
in
have told
Hollywood?
me. No, it's only here
Western?
in
Ah,
West
here.
Covina. Yeah,
Okay.
West
Okay.
Covina. So bibingka, and then what do you do? Do you parang sing?
Yeah, I mean the usual stuff. The Noche Buena with the
Not together with the
family.
family.
We go to mass first, and then we go home with all this food. Oh my God, that will last for like 2 to 3 days.
It's always like that in the Philippines.
Yeah, I can't eat that much anymore. But yeah, I'm actually, so my sister is actually arriving from the Philippines in 2 days. Staying in LA, and then we're going to San Francisco to my aunt's place, my dad's sister. And so we were gonna celebrate Christmas there with all, how it is, Filipino relatives,
A
gonna be like
feast,
probably
yeah.
like 30 people there. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do for
That's what you're
Christmas.
gonna do for
Yeah,
Christmas.
yeah,
Kasi di ba sabi mo nga, you've been working so hard.
yeah,
And then especially, you were away from your family when you were in Dubai.
yeah,
So talagang na-miss mo din. Oh,
yeah.
do you still also, parang celebrate Christmas even nung nasa ibang bansa ka?
So I can't I don't think I've ever celebrated Christmas in the Philippines since I moved to Dubai. I
Wow.
don't think so. I'm not sure, but I don't think so. Because usually I would go the first summer because I love the Philippine beaches. I would go to Boracay, Palawan. Oh my God, I wouldn't even stay because I'm from Manila. I don't like to stay in Manila since I moved to Dubai. I would, because of the traffic
Yeah,
and
oo.
oh my God, the pollution and all that. But I would stay in the middle for a few days, and then I would go like 5 days in the beach. Oh my God.
It's so good,
Oh yeah.
no?
I love. That's what I miss. That's what I really, really miss in the Philippines.
It's the
I go there,
island.
the islands,
Yeah,
yeah,
the island
and the
people.
seafood.
And the seafood. Yes.
Because I grew up eating shrimp, crabs.
What is your province?
Well, my dad is from Pampanga, and my
Oh.
mom is from Iloilo.
They cook really good.
Yes, yes,
Yung mga ano yan.
yes.
So ngayon, magki-Christmas, Errol.
Yeah.
If you're gonna be given one wish, ano bang wish mo for this holiday season?
For COVID to stop.
To stop na, no?
Yeah. I think
Para
everyone
everyone
was
can go
wishing
back to
one.
like
Exactly.
normal. Yeah.
Exactly. Or at least, if it's not gonna...
I don't think it's gonna go back to normal
at
kasi
least
parang
better.
na-change na rin naman
It's
industry.
the new normal, right?
It's the new
Yeah.
normal.
But I hope we go on the right direction. That's my wish for Christmas, because I think before Delta came out, we were all, when the vaccination came out, we were all hoping that it's gonna be, a little bit more normal, and then another variant comes in and all that. So hopefully it doesn't come anymore. Hopefully,
Oo nga, talagang
better.
good health lang
yeah,
lahat.
yeah.
And then, do you see yourself parang growing old na doing this na? Or you're also planning to still try different path and be just a coach,
Coaching is actually harder than doing events.
Events?
For me, I feel like it's all on the same level. Coaching, doing events, and all that. Obviously, after when I get old, I won't be doing this anymore. I just wanna just live my life freely and enjoy it and all that. I think I work so hard and I deserve that. I don't know when. I honestly don't know. I think probably maybe I'll see myself still doing events later on, but maybe like I'm gonna be very, very picky. So I don't know. I still love it now. I'm still young. And so who knows? I really don't
So
know.
you're not giving yourself na parang
No, like
year
10
5,
years.
10, not
No,
yet?
no,
Okay.
not yet. But I do know that I want to stay here in LA. I think even when I retire.
So this is your home,
yeah,
LA.
this is my home. I love
Wow.
LA. It's so easy to drive, to
Yes.
different places,
And the
and there's
food
so
is
many
just
things in the
there.
food. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's I love, and the weather, obviously, except
For
today.
weathers, diba? Except for today. It's a blessing today.
Yeah, yeah. I can remember the last time I was driving with this kind of weather. It reminds me of Philippines. I'm
I
like driving like
know.
this.
That's why I appreciate you. I know you were having your umbrella. Sorry talaga. I didn't
No,
know
it's not
it's
your
gonna
fault.
be
It's not your
But
fault.
anyway, I mean, like what I said, I appreciate you being here because you're a very busy guy, and I mean, your time is very valuable for
No,
you
no
to be
problem. No
here.
problem.
And then
Uh,
I have a few more questions because I want to
mhm.
learn something. And then what still inspired doing this? Kasi 'di ba after COVID, you had the event yung LA
Yeah,
Fashion. How was the experience? Now parang na-open na eh.
yeah,
This has been what you're doing. And
yeah.
then ano yung parang first ano mo? Uh,
Well, first of all, a lot of people are asking me to coach them. That's one of my inspiration. A lot of people, when they message me on Instagram asking me, can you coach me, or they ask for advice how to become a model and all that. I think that's one thing that really inspires me to still continue with being a coach. Another thing with events, I know that because I'm still new here in the US, even
mm,
for 5 years, I'm still new, relatively new, and I know I can still do, and I have some for next year. Everything kind of stopped, and now all of a sudden everything is like
yeah. Like
starting. So
pouring.
yeah, yeah, everything
Yeah.
is pouring in all at the same time. So I'm like, okay, wait, I'm just so excited now with what's happening, and yeah, I have big events coming up next year, which I can't say now, but I'm very
Yes.
very excited because like really good big events and very exciting events that I haven't done here in the US.
So
I
it's
think
already planned out for
yes,
2022.
yes.
Wow, congratulations,
Thank
Errol.
you,
Ah.
thank you.
And then who inspires you every day? I
Oh
mean, waking up,
yeah, I have
doing
a
that. Yeah.
partner. I met him when I moved here. His name is William.
William. Hi,
Yeah.
William.
Yeah. So he inspires me. Yeah,
Inspires you
yeah,
doing. So
yes.
he's very supportive
Very, very
to what you're
supportive.
doing.
Yeah, yeah.
Is he also in the same industry?
No, he's actually an accountant. He's a CPA. So we're
Mm.
totally different. So he
Two different
grounds me. Yeah,
world.
yeah. He
Yes,
grounds me because
yes.
sometimes when you're
Yeah.
so creative, you're like, I want to do this. Da, da, da.
Uh-huh.
He's like, no, okay, this is not that. You have to do this. So he's more on the business side.
He's organized
Oh yeah,
kasi
oh yeah.
everything
He
should be
helps me
like,
with
yes,
accounting
good,
and all that.
good.
So it's
It's a
perfect.
great partnership.
Yeah, yeah. It's a great
Wow,
partnership. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
nice.
yeah.
It's a great feeling also to be loved and
Exactly.
the
And
well.
then we have two dogs. Their name
Aww.
their names are JJ and Suki.
Uh-huh.
And so this was pre-COVID. This was
Mm.
2018. I know a lot of people during COVID like, okay, I'm gonna adopt a dog.
Yes, yes.
It's not easy to have dogs. I mean, I had dogs in
It's
the
like
Philippines.
kids.
I had dogs in the Philippines. I love dogs. I usually have two dogs. But in the Philippines, you have people to help you, when you're not there. And I mean, I'm still young. In Dubai, I couldn't get a dog. I didn't want to have a dog because I was living in an apartment and it was hot, in Dubai. So I didn't want to have a dog. So it was really my dream when I came here. I was like, okay, I'm gonna have a dog. So we tried checking non-profit organization to adopt a dog, and we were supposed to have one dog. I forgot the breed. It was so cute. When we applied for it, it was already gone. Someone already adopted it.
Oh.
And so after a few weeks, they showed me this dog. It was a small puppy, a girl, and they're like, you can only take her if you're gonna take her brother. I'm like,
Oh.
yeah, it's like, oh my god.
So that's the reason why you got two,
Yeah,
Suki
that's the
and
reason why. That's the reason why
JJ.
we got to there. So the story is, a homeless guy was selling them in downtown for $100,
Mm.
and the nonprofit said, "Okay, we're gonna buy them from you." Because he said, if nobody buys, we'll just let them out
Yeah.
here on the street. I'm like, oh my god.
Mm.
So I adopted them, and yeah, I trained them. Oh my god, they're so smart. They're like the smartest dog I've ever had. They're half schnauzer, half terrier, Yorkie
Oh,
terrier.
wow.
So
And
they're
they give
cute.
you unconditional love. Pag
Yes,
pagod ka, diba? When
yes,
you're tired, they
yes,
just keep on.
yes.
I have a dachshund and dachshund, kaya lang, kinuha ng coyote.
Oh
I
my God! That's why I go.
know.
That's
I
why
get the
when I let
small
them out on the
one. I
backyard, I
didn't
go.
know.
I go out and check, and we have cameras outside to
Coyote
make
attack
sure.
because I live in
Yeah,
parang close to the state park in
yeah,
Chino Hills.
yeah.
And then the
Oh my
coyote,
god.
oh my god, jump on our courtyard
Did you
and then
see?
attack. It was my mom who saw it
Oh
and
my
just
god.
took my dog out and probably I was
Oh my god. Oh
crying
my god.
because
I would cry. Yeah, I would be
her
devastated.
name is Lala.
Oh, my previous dog in the Philippines, his name is Lala.
Lala. She's
Yeah.
like she always sleep in my bed.
Uh-huh.
So I was crying. I was still working as a nurse,
Yeah.
and when I found out the news, I was like,
Oh
I
my
get depressed.
god.
Yeah, it's so precious.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you enjoyed our
I did.
conversation
Thank
and our
you.
interview, and for sure, a lot of people will be watching and learn a lot of nuggets. So maybe any last word for those people who would like to have their, getting into the fashion world and entertainment. Is there any other last thing that you would like
Yeah,
to
I
share?
think you really, really have to be passionate about what you're doing, and don't give up. Really, I believe in whatever door that that closed in me. There's always always a window that's gonna open, and it's always for the better. It's always for the better. This is my experience in my whole life, because I'm like, I always pray for something and I don't get it, but after that, whatever I was given, it's actually better. So don't give up. If it's not for you, it's not for you. But you will. If you work hard, you will find your destiny and your passion about it. So
I
yeah,
love that
thank
message
you.
because actually it happens to me. Sometimes the things that you plan is not God's plan,
Yeah,
they said.
exactly.
So sometimes he has to
Yeah,
reroute you on a
yeah,
different,
yeah, yeah. And you have to
place.
adapt,
You have
right?
to
You can't
adapt,
just like be
depressed.
depressed and all
Yeah.
that. Yeah, you
Yeah,
shouldn't.
sometimes we don't know what's God's plan for us.
Exactly.
So again, thank you,
Thank you for
Errol
having
Isip.
me.
Thank you, and I'll see you soon. And again, thank you again to all the viewers of the TBC and TWLS. And don't forget to follow us on YouTube, The Wendy Lindo Show, and Facebook, The Wendy Lindo Show. So makita-kita po tayo again.